Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to more esports news on the FaZe case, as we now have another response out there, this time from the FaZe CEO, and I know a few of you guys might be thinking that this will be my last video on the topic unless something else substantial or large like this does come out. Huge shouts to the score as well as Colin over there. They are doing great work by having exclusive interviews with both sides of the case, and if you guys have been following the channel, I feel like I need to be open and honest with all of you. I've been slightly towards, maybe even more than slightly towards the Tfue side of the case up until now, where the FaZe CEO, we're going to call him Trink, has now responded to several topics out there, which I am still skeptical about. I still think this case will be settled out of court in favor of Tfue, but obviously, depending upon how the courts look at the case, it could go either way. So thanks to the score once again. Their full video will be linked down below. I'm going to touch on the 3 to 4 main points that the FaZe CEO does bring up in this case so far. The first of which, as you probably expected, Tfue is still a part of FaZe, even though he is taking down FaZe out of all of his social medias, taking down his logos and promos on his streams for FaZe Clan. He is still indeed a part of FaZe Clan, so I would understand a little bit anger towards the CEO, or I would understand the CEO being a bit angry about that. He is still a signed character or a player or a competitor underneath FaZe Clan. He's just taking down those promos, so keep that in mind. And the first big point by Trink is actually probably one of the largest ones, and again, I do want to preface by saying, because I feel like otherwise I will say it many times throughout this, all of these laws are so stringent when it comes to California labor code laws or talent agency laws, whatever you do want to call them, however they apply to this case. It will depend how the court looks upon this case individually, because these laws are not set in stone, especially when it comes to esports. They could rule either way on these topics, and that's why it makes it so debatable. The first point touched on by Trink, though, is the fact that these talent agency laws do only apply to actors and artists and not to athletes. Ironically enough, it's actually Tfue who classifies himself, or clarifies himself on Twitter at least, as a professional athlete. So, all the more to attune to FaZe's point that the laws they apparently broke don't apply to Tfue because he is an athlete, not an actor or an artist. Even further as well, you guys might be thinking, no, he makes videos, he streams. Apparently, though, according to FaZe Clan, under the law which they see it as, when he streams, he is actually practicing for competition, and that's why FaZe signed him as a competitor, as an athlete, not as an actor or an artist. So the laws they did break, apparently according to California labor code laws or talent agency laws, would not even apply to this case because Tfue is an athlete and, once again, not an actor or an artist. And that's exactly why Tfue and his lawyer tried to argue that he is an artist, and the things he does create are a form of, I wouldn't say artistry, but a form of being an artist as well in this scene. So when it comes down to that, right, how do you classify as a court who has never really clarified on esports cases an athlete from an artist from an actor? It really depends how the law will subjectively look upon this case. But when it comes time for the bad contract, one of the few main points that I really wanted to focus on, the fact they gave him a bad rookie contract, here's what FaZe CEO had to say about the matter.
Rookie agreements are not great. And rookie agreements get renegotiated all the time in everything else, in sports, music, film, you name it. It's really common. It's only not common here. This is the first one. So everybody's up in arms in it. By the time we get to the 10th one, it's not going to be much of a story anymore. And it's going to be considered. Okay, you sign a rookie agreement with terms that are tough terms. And when you blow up and when you get to be huge, guess what? Everybody renegotiates and everybody comes up with a new deal because it's better for everybody.
Which again is a very interesting point, because when it comes time to ask, what if you cannot settle with the player? What if the player is worth more than you can offer them, or you cannot offer them enough to stay? What then happens? Do you hold them against their will? I really would like clarification on that, and especially if we can find some real life, maybe some comparisons as to what players would do when an organization or a company cannot actually keep them because they cannot afford them. What do you then do? What is the correct thing to do? But again, you have to, as a business, as FaZe must operate, do you keep him because you can, or do you let him go because you should? On top of that, though, one of the biggest focuses I would say that I'm still very skeptical about is this whole $60K thing we keep on talking about, right? FaZe keeps on saying they only took $60,000 directly from Tfue, although when it comes time for the wording of other benefits they have had from Tfue, here's what Trink had to say.
We've already said it. We haven't taken any money from the guy. This is a guy, he's made certainly $15-20 million since he's signed with us, right? He's personally made money. He's going to be somewhere around those numbers. Yeah, had there been some other benefits, I would never deny that. Of course there is. But as far as actually talk about monetary benefit, a guy who's made tens of millions of dollars and we've taken 60 grand, it's like, to be honest, I'm almost embarrassed. We've had to defend the fact that we've only made $60,000 from the kid.
Because I focus on that wording of, have there been other benefits than what they took directly? He openly says yes. So did they openly admit that yes, they have made more than $60,000 off Tfue, his image and his likeness? I think we can probably all agree, in fairness, they likely have. And their reason for doing so and thinking that it's okay to do what they are doing is because Tfue has made tens of millions of dollars is a bit of a weird one, right? Just because your player or your athlete, your artist, whatever you do want to classify Tfue as, just because he has made so much money, does it give you the right to do the things you are doing? It's definitely a point that's very debatable. The fact they have only taken $60,000 directly, but they certainly have made a lot of money off his image and likeness. So it's a very weird topic to talk about when we don't really have real life comparisons, at least at hand right now. When it comes time for Tfue, yes, as an individual, he is making the most of probably any FaZe Clan member. He's making a very substantial portion of money, millions upon millions, but just because he is making so much money, is it okay to treat him in this way and take away potential sponsorships? I was waiting for a comment on the HyperX sponsorship, potentially other sponsorships that FaZe Clan did take away from him. Is it okay to do so because Tfue is making tens of millions of dollars? Is it okay for you to restrain him from making even more than that because he is already making enough money? Again, it really comes down to what you guys think about that, and it also comes down to what the court will see that as. Another last point made for the CEO as well, he actually did clarify and show the exact paper, the exact write-up. It wasn't actually his own contract. It was Tfue's lawyer apparently doing a write-up on a current contract that FaZe had offered them, but he does clarify the exact wording that Tfue did for this very unacceptable contract that he offered to FaZe Clan, which I was already kind of in favor of FaZe about. I think we can all imagine the things he could have asked for. One of the lines he did show, though, was Tfue saying the following. He did say, the gamer may provide services or otherwise work for, create content for, or be employed by any team or esports gaming company. And yeah, I kind of got to side with FaZe on that one. It seems like a pretty unacceptable contract, and that's only one of the few lines we did see of that unacceptable contract. So the fact that Tfue and his team are trying to argue they did offer FaZe a contract to accept, but that contract would openly allow him to leave anytime, at any point in time, to any other organization, yes, it's pretty wild. But overall, that is the case so far. Both sides have now made their cases, have both made their statements, that being Tfue's lawyer as well as the FaZe CEO, and now we must await the settlement outside of court. Will it be in favor of Tfue? Will it be in favor of FaZe Clan? They have both made some, I would say, some pretty solid points, but I think it really comes down to how the court of law, how the California Labor Code, or whatever this goes to, talent agency, will actually look upon this subjective case and how they will subjectively rule on this case as well, because I think it could go either way. I think this definitely puts me a little bit more in FaZe's corner, but I'm trying to stay, I'm trying to ride the line, but it's just so hard when such a debatable topic out there. As always, super curious what you guys think about this and the comments made by the FaZe CEO. My name is Jake. I will see you back here sometime soon. Until then, take care.